other interesting thing, it's not very cool, but it's interesting, is, I've had like anxiety attacks. What I mean by that is, that just like that overwhelming sense of doom, nothing really bad. And it was always like I could cope with it. Well, I believe it was July of 2018, my father ended up being hospitalized. My elderly father was hospitalized and he had some issues. They put him on a ventilator. He was in ICU for a couple weeks and he was better. They moved him into a room and they kept him there as long as they could. I think it was like 10 days. And then we had to move him into a rehab facility to try to get him back on his feet. It just never worked. He basically just would not cooperate for whatever reason. So he bounced back and forth between rehabs and nursing homes for a little while until the rehab centers would no longer take him because he wasn't a viable candidate for rehab because he was not participating in the rehab. So he ended up far away, not far, well, yeah, it was about 4 hours away, 3.5, 4 hours away. And from there, he kept just declining in health. So he ended up in the VA nursing home and his health really began to decline. He then became where he couldn't even pull himself up in the bed anymore. He became completely dependent. By the end of 2019, he was completely bedridden with he could not move without assistance. In January of 2020, we got the call, my family and I got the call that a decision needed to be made, that there was nothing else they could do for him. So yeah, I was the one, we made the decision together, obviously, but I was the one who signed the paper. He still had most of his mental, as much as he normally had. It was a little different, but for the most part, he kind of still had an idea of what was happening. And he definitely understood that part, that he was being put in hospice and that I had signed a do not resuscitate. And let's just say he was not happy. He wasn't happy at all. He called me a name I will not repeat on here because I don't want to cause a problem with the YouTube people. Anyway, so on February the 7th, I got the call. It was around, I want to say 6 in the morning. They called, hospice called and said that the nursing home had called them and they had gone in and that my father had passed away. We went through the whole thing. We had a nice service for him. My dad and I had a really kind of a rocky relationship. I don't want to get into that right now because it's not about that. But so I've been out of work for a little bit. I teleworked even prior to COVID-19 because of my father and that situation. Also, we were building a house, so there were just so many things going on at the time, and I had a very high workload and a lot of stress from work. So, by the end of February, I returned to work. I was very excited just to, be out of that camper and, be around people. And it felt good. It felt really good that morning that I got up and I went to work and I was like, look at me, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing. So it was the end of February. It was the last week in February. I went to work that Monday. Well, let me back up because there is a backup. So I had tried to go in earlier the week prior. 2 weeks prior, I had tried to go into work because I was just that anxious to get back to work, and you start having those feelings of, man, are they going to fire me? I've been out for quite some time. I mean, I've been working still, but you just have those thoughts. You're like, God, how long they're going to put up with this? I tried to go back a couple of weeks prior to when I actually went back, and it was, I'd done a lot that day. We recorded a podcast. I'd done some other things, really, important pieces of my job. I've been very, very productive. We finished the podcast at 3 in the afternoon. Everything was fine. I went back to my office. I was trying to close out a few things, for the end of the day before I left and just make sure, that I had everything taken care of for the day. And all of a sudden, I broke out in this horrific sweat. Horrific. I cannot explain it. I don't know what happened. And then it was like my shoulders and my back were just aching to where it felt like I was having a heart attack. I mean, I was just like short of breath. I was scared. All these thoughts started running through my head. Like, I'm about to die. Like, I'm going to die right now. So I got up from my desk, slowly got up from my desk, walked to my boss's office, shut her door, and said, I'm having a panic attack. I knew immediately that I was having a panic attack. I'd never had one before, and I had an anxiety attack. But the moment that I thought I was having a heart attack, I was like, this is a panic attack. So I sat in her office until it subsided. It lasted about maybe 20 to 30 minutes, I think. And just gathered my things and went home for the day. She told me to just take the rest of the week, work from home. So I went back on the 23rd. That I was intending to go back full time. Me and a girl that I work with decided to go eat lunch at the local Mexican restaurant. And we get there, we sit down, I start having a panic attack. I tried so hard, y'all, to just ignore it and breathe and just calm myself down. Like, I knew nothing was wrong with, like nothing was wrong. It's just, you can't control it. It is completely out of your control. There's no starting it. There's no stopping it. Like, I can't sit here right now and go, ooh, have a panic attack. That's not going to happen. If you never had one, I hope you never, ever do. But if you've had one, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't make yourself have a panic attack, no matter how hard you try, and you cannot make yourself stop having one once you start. You just have to go through the motions. So I called the doctor that day. He saw me. I went in. As soon as he came in and asked me what was wrong, it was just like the gates opened, and I was bawling, crying, going through everything. And I know that man was looking at me like, honey, but he was so sweet, and he listened, and he, was like, yes, I understand. Yes, it happens. Yes, you had a panic attack. Yes, you're not crazy. I'm going to give you some medicine to help with that. I had to make sure it was non-narcotic. I'm not about it. He gave me something that's not addictive. There's literally no way you can get addicted to it. And I started taking it. I still have panic attacks. And, eventually they subsided once the medicine got in my body. I've gotten kind of comfortable with that. I've been on them for going on 4 months. Yeah, I just got my fourth prescription. And so we had one mess up where I forgot to get my prescription. I know, so stupid. And it was like a week or two that I didn't take it. Crazy. So I just now have fully gotten it back into my system. Well, today I had to go to the grocery store to get groceries, the essential things you need in life, food. While I was in there, I noticed, and today is June the 19th, it's Friday, but I noticed, y'all, it's like people have just convinced themselves that COVID-19 is over and we're fine. And I hope that's the case. I really do. However, I doubt it, because the numbers that I see are going up, but nobody's talking about that, are they? And a guy who works at my husband's company tested positive this week for it. So now they're closed, sanitizing. So I may have been exposed through my husband. We don't know, of course, because they can't share that information. And why should they? Because then that person is going to be discriminated against, which we don't want that. So I completely agree with that move. But I mean, it's still scary, right? But I get to the grocery store and these people are walking around like, yeah, it's cool, everything's over. But yet you have a mask on. But you're going to walk right up on me because you think that mask is keeping me safe, because I don't have a mask on. And your mask isn't keeping me safe. So don't come walking up on me, and follow the arrows. You know what I'm saying? If it says, do not enter a wrong way, that means don't go that way. I'm doing it right, and you're coming at me like you're normal. It's not normal, people. Pay attention. Do it right. I get it. I'm over it too. But we have to have some common sense here. You know what I'm saying? So I got all upset. Ended up on the phone with one of the girls I work with. I was just like, oh, I gotta get out of here because I'm just like so stressed. Stop by the drive-thru, get me and the husband some lunch because I'm starved by this point. It's 1 o'clock, mind you, because I had to get ready. Anyway, so yeah, so I am in my car. I get the food. I'm, coming home. I'm just trying to get home because I just want to be home. I just want to be in the safety of my own home right now. That's really my only goal. And so I get home, I get my groceries out. So anyway, I get all the groceries in and I start feeling it. and it's like my back is hurting, then I'm short of breath and my chest is, it's like, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. I've gone weak. I hate that this is my new normal, and I don't know if I'm ever going to make it back out in the real world and YouTube and TikTok. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know when I'll have that, but I want to make sure to get this video up because I've been promoting myself on TikTok. So I felt like, well, girl, you gotta get another video out because we literally did nothing but sit here and have a talk. And that's okay, I feel like. If you have questions, if I didn't tell you enough information, if you have comments about what I did talk about, or if you have suggestions for things you want me to do or talk about or anything like that, anything you want to know, you just drop it down in them comments and I will get to you and we will talk that out. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and yeah, let's be friends. Let's get this little thing going right here.